This is an episode of Scott Talks Law, and welcome once again to another episode of Scott Talks Law. So, in this episode, we are going to talk about the rights and freedom of refugees. So, the Refugees Act is the governing law on refugees in Kenya, and this act provides that under Section 16 that refugees shall be obliged, together with their families, with the provisions of international conventions as far as their rights are concerned. So we've got main rights and other categories of rights. So under the main rights, we've got the rights to non-refoulement, the rights to freedom of movement, and the rights to family life. And other categories of rights, these are rights that are not really the rights here include rights to access to court, rights to education, right to employment, but you got those main rights that are governed by specific international conventions. So to start with the right to non-refoulement, this is the rights that prevents refugees from being returned to their frontier of territories where their rights will be, where their life will be at risk, where they will face persecution in terms of race, gender, nationality, belonging to a particular social group, opinion, and whichever grounds that are provided under Article 1951 Conventions of Refugees. So Section 33 of the Convention of Refugees, the one that governs these rights and refoulement. So it just prevents refugees from being returned to the area or to their state or their country where they face persecution or they have that well-founded fear, or where the well-founded fear was established. So both national and regional courts have established the right to life and the freedom from of torture, to include also the right to non-refoulement. So non-refoulement is an internationally recognized right that refugees have. Another right refugees have is the right to freedom of movement, whereby the refugees have that right to move within the country of where they seek protection. So these refugees should not be restricted or restrained in camps where they cannot access education, where they cannot access employment, where they cannot move and to seek services that they need. So these rights also provide that refugees should be permitted to have access to documents that will help them to travel, like visas and passports. So and we also have, under this rights, Article 26 of the 1951 Convention provides that states shall afford refugee right to choose their place of residence within their territory and to move freely within the state. And we also have the third one, the right to family life, whereby the refugee who has gained the status together with their family, and the family of that person who have already attained the status refugees after going through refugee determination status, they are allowed to have that identification. So this identification can only be taken away after the one who has sought that refugee status, the status has been terminated, maybe taken away. So if this person loses status, then the family or the persons who had acquired the identity will also lose their identity. And the other rights here, the ones rights to education, right to employment, so we also have the freedom of refugees, and the refugees have got the freedom to be abide by the laws of the host country, and also to avoid situations that they should not be a threat to the national security of that country where they are seeking asylum. So Article 28 of the Refugee Convention states that parties to issue travel documents permitting them to travel outside the state unless compelling reason for national security or public order otherwise required. So once the refugees have entered into a particular country of asylum, they are not supposed to be restricted from traveling to other countries. They are allowed to be given, when they seek travel documents, they're supposed to be given the travel documents. So unless the situations of national security and public order. So freedom of movement is an important issue in regards to protecting refugee situations in countries with limited natural resources with regard to protracted refugees. So freedom of movement is so important with regards to protracted refugees, and these are refugees who seek asylum. These states that have challenges of economy, and these states usually restrict this or confine these refugees within refugee camps such a way that they are not able to access employment, they are not able to access education, they're just there within their camps. So they are supposed to like move, they're supposed to like own property, and just to like seek education and employment under the rights. So the third one is the right to family life, and the family is seen as a natural and fundamental group unit of the society, and it is entitled to protection by society and the state. So the Constitution of Kenya under Article 45 and International Convention on Civil and Political Rights are the main legal provisions as far as the right to life, family life is concerned. And Section 15 of the Refugees Act allows members of the family of a refugee who has entered Kenya to be issued with a refugee identification card in the prescribed form on attaining the age of 18 years. However, should the individual refugee status be terminated, the status of the dependent relatives will also be terminated. So the relative status will also be terminated when the person or the family member who sought this asylum and they were obtaining that identification on his recognition of as a refugee. So when he loses that status, then they also lose the identification, the identity card that they have. So we got other category of rights, and they include right to education, access to justice, right to employment, and other fundamental rights and freedom enshrined in international and regional human rights treaties. So like these refugees should like enjoy the same rights that other citizens within that particular country enjoy. So they should be employed, wage earning and property rights should be afforded to them. The same treatment should be afforded to them as foreign nationals, and they should be granted equal access to courts. So we've got a case law there of Kituo cha Sheria and 8 others versus Attorney General that provides for the rights of these refugees. And the government directive requiring refugees to return to refugees camps was rendered as an infringement of the rights of refugees. Like when they just contained the refugee camp, like even you, when you just contained within a particular place, you're not allowed the freedom of movement. Like you can even die there. It will be like you are again arrested or you are detained, but you are not a criminal rather. So we're going to seek asylum and you're just restricted within a camp. It's like again you're being detained for no particular reason. So according to that case of Kituo cha Sheria, the government's directive of returning these refugees to the camps was of Kakuma, camps in Kenya, Kakuma Dadaab, was against the rights of this and fundamental freedom of these refugees, like the rights to movement. You can apply that case law under the rights to movement, and the duties of refugees are duty to comply with the legal laws, the laws and regulations of a particular country, and to keep peace and not be a threat to national security. So that is the end, and have a nice day.